And that was the last time I ever killed a man. So, oh, well.
Now it's streaming.
Okay.
Great. I'll just grab the link. If it'll show me this time.
Don't hurt
It doesn't
Link.
want to. And then I can announce it.
You want it?
There it is. It's a nice thumbnail.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Great. There, I put an announcement on Discord.
Ask for questions too.
See.
Okay. Questions to the Zelda mailbag, not curiosity shop.
Yep. Let's see if I can say this right. Wir brauchen viele Fragen. We need lots of questions. Not lots of questions, but...
We've got some people watching our live at Mr. Hooked Pirate, Mallow Studios, Zedinga, Zulu.
Which just
Hello,
makes me think
friends,
of
and the other
Ocarina.
people watching as well.
Oh, 7.
7 people watching. It says just the live stream.
7 is a lucky number, according to superstition. Is
Correct.
It by anything else? No, never mind. I was trying to think of something else. I was like, nope, just general consensus that that's a lucky number.
I'm gonna do the tweeter as well.
Robin McCormack. One of my best friends married someone whose last name is McCormick. Last name.
Oh.
They're really adorable. I doubt they're watching this, but they're great. Oh.
I did a Twitter.
We got a couple people.
Oh, it went down to 6. That's an evil number. No, it went back up to 7.
Ooh, people don't want to watch us just sit here and tweet.
10.
Thanks.
We're at 10. Do you
Whoa!
accept requests? Do we accept requests? I don't know what
kind of
it means by
requests?
request.
For the
The
mailbag.
mailbag.
Oh yeah, that kind of request.
For the... Ah!
Alright, so I made this to kind of be a quick one. So
Okay.
there's only 2 pieces of news, which there really wasn't any news. It still says promote hardware games. Alright, so the 2 pieces of news, one is the Tingle thing that we never got to talk about, and then the director of the Metal Gear Solid game at Comic-Con discussed how he would approach a Zelda movie. So I thought it's more non-news, but it's something interesting that people like, so I brought it up. And then another list thing, but it's the long list, but we're only going to do 5, so we'll each do one, and then you and Ilya can do one, and then we'll answer a question.
Oh, okay.
Great.
Yeah.
I see it in the Google Doc.
Yeah.
You cleaned out the questions.
Yeah, because they were all for Rivali.
Ravioli.
And I'm not Rivali, so.
What?
Yeah, I know, hard to believe. It feels weird not having like one of the
feel
voice actors
betrayed.
on the thing. So
It does.
we'll each do
Ooh.
one, and then you and Ilya.
What
I
are we
was
even doing?
sweating the other day, speaking
And
of
then
voice
we'll
acting, because I
answer
went into my mom's closet in order
Great.
to record
Yeah.
some
I see it in
auditions.
the Google Doc.
Yeah,
There's
it was really
you
hot.
cleaned out the questions. Oh.
Yeah, because they were all.
I thought you were
for
like
Rivali.
nervous sweating.
And-
Ravioli.
No,
And
I
I'm
just
not
kept having to
Rivali,
redo
so.
things because I would hit
What?
like a piece of clothing
I
and
know,
get down
hard to
clothes or
believe.
something.
It feels
I get
weird not
animated.
having like one of the
Feel
voice actors.
betrayed.
Okay.
It was funny.
I think we're ready. Right.
Yeah.
See. Okay.
All right. So, can everybody hear us fine? I guess. No one said anything. Jesse didn't.
No one
Really hope
has-
The internet people sup. Debbie, Johnny, Tim,
Hello,
Cheesy.
people.
All right, we can start. I guess.
Cool.
This is my least favorite part.
Do you want me to do it? I can do it if you want.
I got it.
Okay.
You guys are just like patiently waiting.
I'm waiting. I've never waited like this before.
What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse, as all of you may know me, and this is the Hylian gamescast for episode 43 or 44. Yes.
Oh wow.
So we are joined by our co-host Daniel.
Hello.
And Ilya. Yes. So today we're going to be discussing the newly revealed, canceled Tingle horror game. The director of the upcoming Metal Gear Solid movie discussed his ideas for how he would approach a Zelda movie if he had the chance. We have a discussion of the top 5 biggest secrets in Zelda as listed by Screen Rant, and then we're going to end answering a few of your questions from the chat. So, let's see. All right.
So,
almost forgot the shout-outs again. Sorry. I suck at this. So, Daniel.
Jesse.
Sometimes we have so many questions, unlike this time.
Oh man, not this time, but sometimes.
So what happens if we have too many questions? How can we... Is there a way that people can guarantee their question to be answered on the show?
No.
No, okay. I get moving.
Oh wait, there is.
Oh.
There is. Go to patreon.com/GameOverJesse, and for just $1 or whatever other amount you want to donate, you can join our list of lovely patrons who we adore, and you can guarantee that your question gets answered. And there are other cool prizes like, Jesse, what's that shirt you're wearing?
It is a Game Over Johnny shirt.
Wow. Game Over Johnny, that famous YouTube guy. So you can get a shirt just like that if you really want to.
Yeah.
I know I did, because I also have that exact same shirt.
It's very
And so
strange.
do I.
Oh yeah, we all three have the same shirt. Cool. So it's very strange that there are Patreon subscribers at the $1 level, but none of them ever ask questions.
But you can, guys.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. And we have some patrons.
Yeah, we do.
Who
like
names I will now say an order
who
of the order that Jesse wrote them here.
Who are our patrons?
Such as Jacob Schulroy, Michael McKaylee, Elmer Colomuniz, Bootleg Boy, the high school hero, and some of our longtime patrons like Gus, Dustin, that one pancake, the other pancake, Key of Time 15, Monica Spath, Casey Willis, Link, Use the Triforce, Megan Neal, Lunori, Robin Morgan, Shadow 2S, Rusty Caulfield, and Christy, who I think is pretty lovable. So,
I think it was Gus who commented saying that we should have lovable Christy on an episode, and I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
Did. We don't know, but she's a patron, and I love her username.
She's not even on the Discord or Twitter. I've looked the name, I've looked the username for everyone, and some of them, they just don't exist. Yeah.
Weird.
But
Come on, guys, we want to talk to you.
Yeah,
you get a special rank on our Discord server for being a patron, too.
Yeah, before we officially get to the news, what games have you guys been playing this week? Ilya, have you been playing anything?
Yes, I don't know if the question, but if I'm answering honestly, I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart.
So you're already probably better at it than me, right?
I don't know. Once you put me in multiplayer, we'll see. I've also been playing a lot of Breath of the Wild and Pokemon Quest.
How far are you in Breath of the Wild?
Well, on my Wii U, I just need to do Ganon and like a few side quests, but in this one, I still have to open a couple towers, but I'm a lot further along than I was on my first save file at this point. For only like,
oh, you
what
got
is
it on
20
Switch
hours.
now, right? Before,
Yeah.
and then so you have both versions.
Sort of cheating
Like
because I'm
me,
using
for some
Amiibo every
reason.
single time.
I use it. Oh no, that's not like cheating.
Well, I
Yeah,
didn't use it on my first time.
It's part of the fun.
that is, you know, that's how
Yeah.
you get Epona.
Yeah, literally the
Yes.
only way.
Hmm
I
Not
got
that I
some
would
other
know
horses
anything
and gave
about
them some
having
weird
Amiibo.
names. Yeah.
I don't own a single Amiibo.
Nice.
That is the biggest lie
Nice.
of the decade.
And I was gonna say, I'm not sure if we believe you.
Oh,
Evidence.
okay.
Before we started the
What
podcast,
what evidence?
the one
That'd be like
next to
wearing
your
a Game Over
shoulder.
Jesse shirt and saying, I don't know what that YouTube channel is.
Yeah.
Okay.
My hat.
Well, I just finished playing the Splatoon 2 Octo expansion. So that was a lot of fun, actually. I feel like that was the real sequel to Splatoon, because I felt like Splatoon 2's like story mode was super lackluster, and it felt like just a retread of Splatoon 1's story mode, whereas the Octo expansion actually feels like a good sequel. And unlike Splatoon 2's story mode, it doesn't feel like a chore to do. It actually has like levels that I want to keep playing and want to progress in and everything. So it's a lot of fun. It's hard. They don't pull any punches with some of those missions, but it's fun. That's what I've been heckin' playing. So I finished the story mode for that, and it's at the ending. There's some parts in there that took me by surprise in a pleasant way. So I don't want to spoil it, but unless you want me to spoil it, I'll spoil it right now. I swear. No, I won't do it. So
I don't know anything about
I'm not gonna-
Splatoon, so...
Yeah.
it's good. It's a lot of fun.
Is it?
Jesse, what have you been playing?
I have been playing
Lately.
basically just Fortnite when I can.
Fortnite.
Yes. Because I don't have much free time. But when I do, it's only like 10-minute sections, which is perfect for like 1 or 2 rounds of Fortnite. So, but I am actually really interested in playing the Splatoon 2 expansion when I can.
Do it. I would recommend it,
Yes. All right.
especially for fans of the first game. If you played the first game, I feel like you get a little more out of it.
If you had like just the multiplayer of the first game or the story of the first game.
the story of the first game,
Okay.
because I feel like that's actually like the sequel to Splatoon 1's story. Splatoon 2 feels like a weird sidestep, not like a progression.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you had to give it a 1 through 10 rating.
Oh, like 7.4. Like, it's not amazing. It's not mind blowing. It's not Breath
So
of the
not,
Wild,
not good enough.
which
for
is a game I've never
7.5?
played and I'm not a fan of. But but
All the lies.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Your
But
nose
it's
is getting
fun.
so long.
And there's a cool system in it, actually, where the levels, you have like a currency, they're called CQ points. And you need to spend those points to actually get into each level. And then each level rewards you with some points, right? So I don't know what happens if you run out. Because, like, if you die, to, like, respawn, you get a few free ones, but then you need to spend points to respawn as well. And thankfully I never got to the point, but I'm like, what happens if you run out of CQ points? Can you continue playing? Or what happened? I don't know.
Yeah. So what would you say is the best? Like if you just had to pick one part of the expansion as the best.
I feel just like the level design's a lot more creative than, like, all of Splatoon 1 and 2's level designs are pretty much just get from point A to point B. And there's interesting ways to get between point A and point B. The Splatoon 2's Octo expansion actually has different objectives in the levels. It cuts out that kind of the weird hub world, so you just kind of have a map to choose levels. It just feels a lot more like they really got creative with it, instead of just kind of reading the same ground over again. So,
And what would you say is the worst?
there's this one level where there's an orb in the middle of the stage, and there's a bunch of like enemies that come and attack the orb, and if it blows up, you lose, and you have to defend the orb for like 3 minutes, and it's so hard that I stayed up till like 2 in the morning once, just playing it over and over again because I couldn't beat it, and it was so hard. That one level is the worst part.
All right.
that one level.
All right. So, are you guys ready to go to the first news story?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I've talked enough.
All right. Podcast over, guys. Let's go.
That's enough.
That is a wrap.
Oh my god, the stupid ads popped up on the page. All right. So, did you guys know that apparently, along with the other Tingle DS games, there was a canceled Tingle horror game? Not sure how
The
I
thought
feel
of it
about
is
that.
horror.
Yeah. Weren't the other games horror games as well?
That's what I thought. I thought the Tingle games were horror games.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I think that's everything I ever wanted in a game.
yeah.
I think it is.
It's the perfect game.
It's
The
the
thumbnail
perfect
that
game
is-
doesn't exist.
The thumbnail
Because
that they're using
canceled.
of Tingle he just looks too realistic, even though he's still Toon Tingle.
They should have used Wind Waker Tingle for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even though I don't even play Hyrule Warriors, but still.
Yeah.
They're creepy in different ways, though. Like Wind Waker Tingle and Majora's Mask Tingle. Wind
Yeah.
Waker Tingle's like this weird, otherworldly person that's like, there's just something off about him. And Majora's Mask Tingle is like,
Something.
this guy needs like to probably like waxes his chest, and he when he gets home, he I don't know, like he's like a grungy old guy, 35-year-old guy that's like dressed up in spandex, you know. So I'm like talking to kids, and
All right then.
it's just there's just something
That's the
uncomfortable.
person that
about
when
it.
you are with children, you walk much faster past.
Yeah, just imagine that guy, like 35-year-old guy. He's probably got, you know, like his chest hair like sticking out of his shirt, you know, and he like is hanging out at the playground, not doing anything, not talking to anybody, but he's just hanging out there, like drawing a picture of the trees, you know, watching the kids play, not doing anything, but he's there,
Mm-hmm.
watching, learning.
That's so horrible.
It has
Alright.
all the earmarks of turning into a crime.
Yeah. So
Of
this
some
piece of news
level.
comes from Nintendo Everything, where they say Nintendo and Vanpool canceled a horror game that starred Tingle. Tingle, the peculiar character from the Zelda series, has been featured in his own games before. Freshly picked Tingle Roozy Rupee Land, and Ripen Tingle's Balloon Trip of Love are the most notable of the bunch, and came out on DS many years ago. I believe there was a cell phone game as well. I had to cover it on one of the videos that I
Really?
made.
Oh.
Yeah, I think there was 3 on DS, and then there was like one that was I think it was like a cell phone game, but there was also a kiosk for it. I don't remember why.
Ew.
They continue.
I don't know.
Looking back 8 years ago, so that would have been 2010, we were developing a horror game with Vanpool that shared Tingle as the main character, but that project was cancelled due to a variety of reasons.
Probably because it was too similar to an episode of Law and Order SVU.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I was thinking about that.
Tanabe, I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. Didn't say anything
Tanabe.
further about the mystery project, but we do know that it. But we do know. What we do know. Sorry, that's my fault. Thought it was a typo. What we do know is that Nintendo and Vanpool kept in touch, with the latter making a prototype for what eventually became Dylan's Rolling Western. Yeah. So
Roland Western.
That's
This-
a game I've never heard of or played.
if the game began early development in 2010, that means it likely would have been on the 3DS or the Wii U. And since all of their games have been handheld games, it seems like it would have been the 3DS and not the Wii U. So this would have been the only 3DS Tingle game. Yeah. And something else that's weird about this is if you look at all of these Zelda games on the 3DS, there are no new traditional 3DS Zelda games. They are all either remakes, spin-offs, or reimaginings or whatever.
But Jesse, someone says in the comments, what about A Link Between Worlds?
Yeah, so A Link Between Worlds began as a remake.
Yes.
So
I know someone would call
and then it is its own like new traditional game, but I look at it as more of a reimagining because one person,
absolutely.
I think Aonuma wanted to make a new game and Miyamoto wanted to remake A Link to the Past. So they ended up like halfway through the development of the actual remake, they ended up changing it so it kept the overworld and everything and just reused everything. So I look at it as more of a remake. But yeah, we have Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D, which are remakes. Triforce Heroes
is kind of a
spin-off. Yeah, not a traditional game. Hyrule Warriors Legends.
It doesn't count.
Another spin-off, and then A Link Between Worlds, which is like in between traditional and a remake. So it's
Hyrule
weird
Warriors
that like
Legends is kind of like a spin-off, but a remake of a spin-off, or like a port of a spin-off, I guess, actually. But
yeah.
that's double trouble.
So I just think it's really weird that the console that technically has the most Zelda games doesn't have a single new, unique Zelda game.
I never even thought of that, but yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
great
better
for
than having a
nostalgia,
Tingle
though.
game, though.
Yeah, so this Tingle game, what on earth, realistically speaking,
Were they thinking? No,
think
sorry.
they could have... Okay, so I have an idea of why this would have been a horror game, which is what I was going to ask. Like, why do you think they would have made it a horror game? And my thought is, when the team that was working on Hyrule Warriors were creating that game, they had a lot of back and forth with Nintendo and Aonuma said that he didn't want them to make a game that was similar to what a traditional Zelda game is, because they wanted to include actual dungeons and puzzle solving and everything in Hyrule Warriors. But Aonuma said, I don't want you to make a game that I can make. It's my job to make the traditional Zelda games that everybody likes. So if we're going to let someone else make a Zelda game, it should be a Zelda game that we wouldn't be able to make because we're too busy working on the actual Zelda games. And I think that might have been the thought process behind this, because they would have thought, we've already did like a weird adventure spin-off with Tingle, what haven't we done? And what type of Zelda game hasn't been done before? So they ended up going with a horror game, which again, really weird. But
it makes the most sense though, because like even like Nintendo places these weird sort of restrictions, like you can use our characters, but
Mario can't jump.
But Mario, that's exactly what I was gonna say. You can have Mario in your Rabbids game, but Mario can't jump.
And
just like
what
weird
does he do
stipulations.
if he doesn't jump?
Yeah.
What does he do?
Honestly, like Miyamoto can like walk into a room with developers and say some random crap, and then it changes the face of that game forever. He walked into Retro Studios while they were making Metroid Prime, and he's like, "What if Samus had a bug head?" And then he leaves, and they're like, "Huh?" And that's how they came up with the scan visor somehow. So, but like he just says weird things, and they have such impact. So
it really is bizarre. It's like
it's in that man's brain.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case here, where they were like, you know, they're wanting to make a Tingle game, or they want to make a Zelda game. Like, can we make a Zelda game? Like, yes, but it has to have Tingle.
Okay, so
here's
the thing. What if it's really Aonuma being scared that another developer will make a better traditional Zelda game than him? So he tells them that they're not allowed to make a traditional style Zelda
He's
game.
like, you can't.
That way
You can't show me up.
That way Nintendo doesn't move him onto another project and get the director of the spin-off game and place him in front of Nintendo's team. So
wasn't the thing you told me where he kind of wants to move on, but Nintendo's like, no, you're the Zelda. Yeah. You're the Zelda man.
Yeah.
You are here till you die.
Every time,
yes.
Almost every time, which we heard the same thing from Sakurai, where like every time they finish one of their games, they're like, and we're going to move to something else now. And almost every time Aonuma says the same thing, where he's like, I've been working on Zelda for 15 years. I want to make something new. I've been working on Zelda for 20 years. I want to make something new. I've been working on Zelda for 25 years. And I want to make something new. And then Sakurai, I think ever since Melee or Brawl, every time he finished Smash Brothers, he was like, that's my final Smash game. And then 5 years later, that's my final Smash game.
The thing is, like, every time I believe it, too. Like, he's designed Brawl and Smash 4 and now Smash Ultimate. Like, he always designs it with the intention of, like, we're going to make this the best Smash game because it's going to be my last Smash game. And then he keeps coming back. He just keeps coming back. But I might believe it more this time because the name of the game is actually Smash Ultimate.
Yeah.
Which actually means, like, final.
Or if he makes another Smash Brothers and its name is Final Smash.
Oh.
That would be a heartbreaker.
Yeah, like Super Smash Bros. Finale or Final. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, I'm pretty sure they're, like, feeding him, like injections from the Fountain of Youth and, like, giving him the Elixir of Life to keep him from aging so he can make more Smash games.
Exactly.
That's why he looks the same as he did when he made the first game in the 90s.
So what do you guys think the possible plot of this game could be?
Well, it's a horror game, so it takes place in Tingle's mind.
Okay.
The scariest place
so like
in existence.
Inside story, but it's Tingle's inside story.
Kula Limpa. No, jokes aside. God, I don't even know what you would do for the story. Like, he probably... well, the other Tingle stories, he's been kind of like
they're
transported to another world and weird stuff happens. I think one of them is like Tingle was like a moniker.
Go to the rupee fairies. That
got passed on, the rupee fairies. So maybe someone stole his rupees, he goes to get it back, he gets trapped in a haunted house, and then someone tries to stab him to death repeatedly and he's gotta hide.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best I got.
See,
I'd play that game.
Like, I feel like it would have to be 3D, not 2D. Which makes sense, because it said they went on to make the Rolling Western game, which is like a weird 3D game.
Right.
So...
But is this a Tingle horror game where Tingle's the player character and he's hiding from someone? Or is Tingle... like, what if you go to... What if you go to, like, Tingle's house and he's hunting you down? You know, and you're hiding from Tingle. That game's better. That's way better than what I said before.
My question was, like, okay, but who is it horrific for? Is it horror for Tingle or horror for the player? Or both. But... because I'm like, if it's horror for the player, simply having Tingle is enough. But
maybe it's horror for the player because you go into Tingle's house and Tingle thinks you're a fairy and he wants to keep you in a bottle.
Oh yeah.
And he...
I feel like I would try playing it. I'd be playing with my 3DS out here, like, I'm gonna keep playing.
Yeah, that's a game that you don't want to look.
Don't come out
in 3D.
Yeah. Oh.
You want to keep the 3D.
I mean, it would be region locked anyway to Japan, but.
It's one of those games you can't play like with headphones on while you're like alone in the dark.
Yeah.
Like Home Alone.
You hear every sound that you couldn't hear normally.
It's like
you hear Tingle breathing like as he's coming into the room, and you just know he's a heavy mouth breather. He's like.
Have you guys ever seen or played the PT demo from Konami? The PT demo.
Oh, I've seen that. I never played it. But
so
I've seen
instead of the witch running towards you to kill you in the demo, it's just Tingle. Like you're walking, because that game there's one hallway and you can walk straight down the hallway and then it turns right and then you go down that hallway and there's a bathroom door and like other locked doors. You can only go in the bathroom, and then when you go through the door at the end of the hallway, it loops you back to the beginning of the first hallway. So like you're walking through and you keep hearing stuff every now and then, and you have to complete these puzzles before the witch gets you. And sometimes it's a requirement for the witch to get you so you can progress to the next part. And she always shows up in different areas. So my thought is you're playing as the same character in the game. You're still playing as Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, because that's the character you play as in this game. Except when you turn around after you hear something, it's just Tingle, like 3 feet tall, running towards you.
It's like an angry munchkin running towards you.
And he has his drawing pad where he draws his maps, and he tries to just stab you with the pin.
You gotta you gotta steal from him like a map of the house. Okay, just imagine this. There's like a room, old rustic room. He's sitting there on a rocking chair next to the fireplace. You hear that as he's like rocking back and forth, and he's just got the map that he's drawn of the house just laid over the armrest. And there's a faint snooze as he's like sleeping really lightly, but he's a very light sleeper, and he's gonna kill you if you wake him up. And you gotta like sneak over and get his map from him. And there's that, and he's snoring. He's like,
No.
This is a masterpiece.
Okay, well, Kayla wrote in the chat. She said, also, maybe Tingle plays the role of Link, and he believes he's Link, and the horror comes from the Hylian seeing Tingle trying to save her.
No, okay. Another idea. It's like Death Note. So Tingle has his pen and pad, and if he writes your name or draws a picture of you...
You can't let him see you, because if he draws a picture of you, you'll die.
But how well can he draw, though? It would probably be like a figure, just like a circle and 2 eyes.
Well, no, you know he's not that good an artist, because if you get like the Tingle chart in Wind Waker, he drew that, right? And it's got like the drawings of the fairies, and they're really like janky childy drawing, like kindergarten quality level drawings.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
he is a child.
He's 35 at
Yeah,
least.
but in his head, he is a
Plus
child.
a couple hundreds. Who knows?
That's so horrible.
But then
According to him.
the thing is, his goal, like he wants to enslave you. Like he's got, you know, the other guys. Was it like
Yeah.
David?
Who have just really plain names. for
Yeah.
Zelda.
What
The
is it?
Tingle
What are their
brothers?
other names? The Tingle brothers. The other ones. There's like,
I don't know.
you know, the ones. They got the other
They look
suits.
just
and
like
he wants to. Because what he's gonna do is he's gonna like graft your face to
Oh my
enslave you
God.
like them if you don't escape, right? So.
And make you wear a mask that makes
Those
you
aren't-
look like him.
Those aren't his actual brothers. Those are just victims that he keeps
Yeah.
prisoner.
They
So you gotta
are
escape before you become one of them.
they are Ankle, Knuckle, and David Jr.
David, yeah, that's it.
That's so horrible.
And one of them in particular looks angry. Actually, if you look at the picture of them, there's Tingle, and then
He's the fresh
Ankle
one.
and Knuckle. Yeah, the last one, David Jr. is in the white one, but his eyebrows are not just up; they're like furrowed.
Oh, it's
So-
because he got turned recently. He's freshly converted.
So I think
Ew.
an
He's still
interesting
fighting it.
an interesting thought about this is they made 4 swords around the same time as Wind Waker. So what if their thought was, because we're giving 3 additional links, let's also give 3 additional tingles.
That's just
So that's why
mean.
they made
world
the
doesn't
Tingle
need
Brothers?
More tingle.
Yeah.
The world does need more
Yeah,
Tingle.
it's like after Majora's Mask, they're like, how can we make the next Zelda game better? Even more tingle.
More Tingle.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the-
in Japan. Although that tingle was the source of much annoyance from my brother, but much amusement from my mom and I on the Wind Waker, because we had like my Game Boy Advance connected. Because my brother wanted to play, but I wanted to play, but obviously he was better at it.
So you
And
just
so I
drop
would
bombs
join
on
it,
him?
and I like gave it to my mom. I showed her what to do, and she would just do the hey thing all the time. And Travis was like, "Stop it!"
I love it.
I didn't know how to defeat a Deku Baba, much less play the game. So.
Alright.
Alright, Daniel, would you like to take our second news story?
Oh, you mean we're done with that one?
I guess so.
There's so much untapped potential.
No. No.
None of us are gonna sleep all tonight. Okay.
I'll take my
This
sleep.
next story comes from Igen. Sorry, it comes from IGN.
That's a word.
This is an interim review. It says how the director of the Metal Gear movie would make a Zelda movie. And this is a little snippet from a Comic-Con panel I think that Mr. Director guy did. So, Tom Marks from IGN writes, speaking on IGN's Comic-Con live show about his upcoming Metal Gear Solid movie, we asked director Jordan Vogt-Roberts for his take on how he would make a Zelda movie if he had the opportunity. So I think we all know Ilya and my own take on how to make a Zelda movie.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
But
Since this is an actual director who is a fan of the Zelda games and is, again, an actual director.
Sure.
And who has worked...
Just because he's a director.
Well, I think he made the King Kong movie, and now he's working on Metal Gear. So...
Wow.
He's chosen nerdy video game-ish movies.
Mm-hmm.
But what does he have to say about how he would do it?
And I actually kind of like this.
I was gonna say I like some of this.
He says the thing about Zelda is not Lord of the Rings, right? You cannot forget how quirky and bizarre Zelda is. Case in point, Tingle exists.
Yeah.
I think you need to find a way to actually fuse the traditional Zelda and the very new Zelda. Very intensely fuse the pure, just sort of fantasy of the Ocarina of Time and the Link to the Past, but then I think you need to find a way to incorporate the newer pseudo-tech stuff, you know, the lasers and Tron lines that happen in the newer games, but in a way that's not overwhelming. On top of that, Robert said he wouldn't want to make Link talk. I actually fully think Link should not speak the entire film. I would do a film where he's a silent protagonist. San Diego Comic-Con runs from July 19th to 22nd, and IGN will be on location, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so that's the rest of the article. So,
you know what? How they should make the Tingle? The Zelda movie?
The Tingle movie.
Horror Tingle movie.
Oh, I'd watch that.
To where it's just people camping in the woods, but every now and then, like, you see Tingle peeking out of a tree or something.
Oh.
You hear whispers in your sleep.
Oh my god. No.
Kula Limpa.
No.
No, he gets his brothers and they start chanting it from the forest.
So it's like It, where you see like the random balloon floating, except it's one of Tingle's balloons.
Oh, that's how he watches you.
Yeah.
Ew.
Like you,
And if you look up and you make eye contact with him, all you can do is run. But anyways, back to the Zelda movie.
yeah.
I kind of like what he's saying about like Zelda. A lot of people, when they talk about wanting to make a Zelda movie, they've got very much like Lord of the Rings in mind, and he's right. Zelda
That's
is
what the
not.
Netflix rumor was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And no, I don't want that. Zelda is weird, and that's part of what's endearing about it is the weird characters and everything.
Like
that meet
Tingle.
Like, well, yes, like Tingle, you gotta take the good with the bad, right?
The Flower Lady in Breath of the Wild.
Yes, the
Goes
psychotic
crazy.
flower lady, the only force stronger than Calamity Ganon. There's so much goofiness. You know, there's a lot of characters like clowns in Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess and chickens that will murder you and all this weird stuff.
I killed a cuckoo the other day.
How could you?
I threw it in the water and it disappeared.
Oh wow.
It sure didn't like fly up away.
No,
And it marked you. It put you on its list.
I don't know. I just threw it in the water. I didn't know what would happen, and
Wait,
it died.
which game?
Breath of the Wild.
Really? And it just disappeared? I think you
It
glitched.
just went down.
I saw a video of they said the only way to kill a crow, and this came from this is a side topic, Dorkly, who are hilarious, by the way, and they tried to take a Cuckoo all the way to Death Mountain.
Yes,
they had to carry it like from and to throw it in the lava, like the One Ring. So maybe Zelda is like Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so there was an interesting interview Aonuma had that said, like, when you're playing Breath of the Wild, he'll see a bird or something, and he'll wonder, where's that bird going? Like, where did it come from? Where is it going? And if you notice, they don't go anywhere, because once they get, like, 20 yards ahead of you, they just vanish.
They just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they literally just unspawn.
They kind of pop in.
Yeah, and then they respawn somewhere else on the map. And it's like, it would be interesting to follow a bird or a deer or something to see where it goes, but you can't. Like sometimes you'll be running or chasing after one, and then it'll go so far and just vanish.
Yeah.
That's weird. But anyways.
Happens with the lizards.
The movie. What?
Don't
Yes.
make a Zelda movie.
Don't.
I like the idea of the anime approach, but I would still like to see a well done live action thing.
I think the anime approach is good if you handle it in the I think that the anime that I think has the best chance of like translating over to Zelda, and I guess people are gonna hate me because it's not really an anime, it's made by Nickelodeon, but I love The Last Airbender. It's a great show, but mostly the structure of it, their characters actually have like an arc for starters, and it's a very drawn out. Like the pacing is very steady and it's long, and there's like 3 seasons with like 20 episodes per season, and they really flesh the world out, and it's a weird, quirky world. It's not Lord of the Rings. And so kind of that sort of approach to how they do the world building and handling the quirkiness of the world, I find if I had to choose a series or a movie for Zelda, that's how I would want them to do it. Is that very long, drawn out. I don't think a 2-hour movie is enough to...
No.
Like, I just feel like you'd get into it and then it's over and you'd feel very underwhelmed. And I think that's just because with a Zelda game, it's something you probably spend 15 to 30 hours on, for your average player, like leisurely playing through a game. And with a movie, you've got to condense that sort of experience, capture that magic in 2 hours. So, that's why I'm always like, draw it out. If you're going to make Zelda, draw it out. Don't base it off a game that already exists. Make it a new story. But
yes.
I digress.
All right, Ilya, what is your idea? Didn't you have a video on this?
I was going to say a little self-plug here. On my channel, I have a video about Zelda movies and if it could work. And honestly, I recorded that months ago. And even now, I still have more new thoughts. And I wish I could just throw in more video on it. I don't know.
Just do it like a follow-up video.
I might. Who knows? I mean, I'm going to run out of video content.
Season 2.
I've made a bunch more scripts. But, well, my thing is, I'm in the same mind. There are 2 options. And option number 2 has 2 options in and of itself. Sub-options. Option 1, the best option, is don't do it. It's like when you convert a book to a movie. No one is satisfied. Ever. I love The Hunger Games. I love the movies. But they couldn't... Well, not the first one. The second and third and fourth ones were done well. But no one can be completely satisfied because it's not the same experience as a book. Why? Because it's not a book. Same with a video game. Because it's a video game. And even more so, that's harder because it's a video game. It's supposed to be my experience, how I use Link, the answers I give when NPCs ask me questions. So just don't do it. But if you are gonna do it, I agree with some of what he says. As far as the Lord of the Ring things go, people get so confused when I say this, but I'm I like it being the aesthetic of Lord of the Rings, but it shouldn't be Lord of the Rings. Because, like he said, it's not Lord of the Rings. Why would you... I mean, there are quirky characters in there, but not Japanese Zelda quirky. Nothing can top that. And I like that he says that it should fuse the old and the new. I just would hope no one, if they ever do this, ever bases it off of an actual game story, or tries to make it a prequel, or tries to make it a sequel. So many people have been like, well, I would love to have like a Twilight Princess sequel, and they have Midnight. I'm like, no. In my opinion, that's where you're going to run into the same problem that you do with books in converting them.
And you kind of isolate your fan base that way, because if you... Twilight Princess is a good example. It's one of the best-selling Zelda games. Jesse, offhand, do you know how many copies it sold? Because I actually do not.
Which one?
Twilight Princess.
Like 5 or 6 million on Wii, and then 1 or 2 million on GameCube. So like 6 or 7.
So
altogether,
one of the better-selling Zelda games. But if you're trying to make a movie, you want to broaden your audience. So you want to make a movie that your average Joe can go see and enjoy, without being like, huh, who's this character? What's going on? Why is that person important? That all needs to be accessible in the movie on its own. If there's things in there that might go over someone's head, and then like a hardcore fan would see and be like, whoa, that's a reference to this, I love it. Great, do that. Marvel does it all the time, and they're incredibly successful with their movies. But the base of the movie has to be enjoyable for your average person. So if you make it a Twilight Princess sequel, your average Joe's going to be like, great, there's a Zelda movie. Maybe they haven't played Zelda since A Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time or the first Zelda game. And they go in and they're like, what? This is confusing. This isn't Zelda. I don't get it. And if you remake a story that already exists, then people are like, well, the game was like this. Same thing with books, right? Like you said.
Yeah. It just makes it a lot more difficult, and I mean, I would maybe somewhat be down for someone making a series that's inspired by the idea of Zelda. It's inspired by that kind of lore. Maybe they don't have a fully silent protagonist, but the concept behind Zelda is there. And so someone who is a Zelda fan would be like, you know, this really reminds me of this game. I see where they took things from that. But yeah, everyone's like, you know, oh, Skyward Sword has such a good story, and it does, but for a video game.
But you draw that story out for 30 hours, right? Yes. That's why it's so good. It's a really well-paced story, especially for a Zelda game. Whereas previous Zelda games, typically it's like bulk of story at the beginning, couple dungeons, bulk of story, and then like a lot happens with no story, and then the end where there's a bulk of story. Skyward Sword is very like well paced throughout the whole game, which is something
I feel like if they did like if they had like a 20 episode series or season, I think they would be able to do like the full amount of dungeons that they would typically have, because they could like base one episode on getting to a new area, the characters in that area, and then the next episode is the dungeon in that area. But if it was a shorter series, like 10 episodes long, then I could see them how they normally have Zelda games, to where it's like 3 dungeons, something big happens, and then more dungeons.
Yeah. But
so like I see it just the 3 dungeons, and then defeating whatever the bad thing is.
Yeah. But how do you translate a dungeon into a movie or into a series, right?
Similar.
Yeah.
In this case, I would use Lord of the Rings, when they have to travel through the mountain, and there's like the giant trolls, and then in The Hobbit, there's the dragon protecting the jewel that they need. So I would something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the same as the way dungeons are in the games, of course, but there would be some creative liberties with that, which is
spend 30 minutes in this one scene trying to figure out how to solve this ice block.
Yeah, like, can you imagine like a whole episode and Link pushing blocks? Just like
silent.
Understands there's like goes pushes the block.
Yeah.
Actually, that could be pretty funny, but
I think as like some sort of fan-made film homage, like some of the stuff that we've seen in the past, like that animation of Majora's Mask, and that stuff I enjoy watching because I just know it's fan-made stuff, and they're not actually trying to make a legit film or whatever. However, I must say, and this probably sounds hypocritical, if this were to come, I can't say I wouldn't try an audition.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not going to deny I probably would.
Oh, yeah.
And it would end
absolutely.
my career. But
But that's the thing is, as much as we talk about like, oh, it's a bad idea, whatever, we all know we'd go watch it.
exactly.
You know, as
Yeah.
we'd all
In
go
hopes
watch
of it
it.
being good.
Yeah, just
at
in
least-
case.
And at least as people who love Zelda, we would get the references and be like, okay, that was
Mhm.
enjoyable. I just hope I don't have to pay a lot for it. But what you were saying about being accessible, that's why I like the idea of something that's inspired by Zelda. That way you could have
Mhm.
people who don't even know what Zelda is enjoy a series. That way it's
Hmm.
actually popular and makes money.
Yes. Yeah. No. Absolutely.
That's an
Any-
artist's perspective.
Yeah. I
Any
like
further
the
thoughts, Justin?
idea. No, I think that it's nice that the director is putting the idea out there, letting
Mhm.
Nintendo know that a real director is serious about it, and not someone who's just a fan that's like, I would love to make a Zelda movie, and Nintendo being like, no sir.
Please don't cease and desist.
Yeah.
Like I need
So-
that meme with the karate chopping the button.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo fan making fan make project and cease and desist.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo, like, they hire, I don't know who the director is, but they got the one studio to work on the animated Mario movie.
hmm
So
Yeah.
if that is a
That's true.
success, then it is likely that we would eventually see a Zelda movie. So
Yeah.
I will say, I would hope that if it ever happened, they would take inspiration from, I can't remember his name, the singer dude that was on here that was Link in that
Oh.
film. Short little.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched that. I had never seen that. I actually was like, I want more of this. I was very surprised at how good it was.
I can
Mhm.
send
But then
you
again,
the-
I don't know if I would see a whole.
I could send
but-
you the complete script for it. Like that's
Wait,
just
I
how
would
long of a
read it.
script? That's
that's just
one scene.
Yeah, that's one scene out of an entire script that he recorded.
And I think what impressed me about it is how legit it looked. Like, they didn't. I don't even know how to describe it, but I was watching and I was like, I'm not cringing. Why am I not
Yeah.
cringing?
Well, part of it as well, the production value of that particular short is like really good. It's
Yeah.
really good production value.
You
So
have to
it
have
took-
the money to make it good.
It took so
Mhm.
many hours just to apply the ears and not make them look stupid.
That's the thing
Yeah.
is like
Nappy
Link's
was
outfit.
weird, but still.
You gotta really do it well, otherwise just Link's outfit will look stupid on a real person.
Yeah.
Like just the whole getup. Just right. If it's too green, it's gonna look too clean, and no one's gonna buy it. If it's too dirty, it's gonna look too Lord of the Rings. You know, you gotta really get it just right. You know, so that's something I found they found a nice balance in that fan film.
Yeah.
Like, it was legit, but it wasn't like, oh, that's way too clean. It looks like a cheap cosplay. Not a good cosplay, because there are really good cosplays, but that's like my
Yeah,
first
there's-
cosplay. You know,
There's a lot of fan videos
Mhm.
on YouTube where it does just look like cheap cosplay,
yeah.
which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you
Mhm.
can't hate on someone just because they're not rich. So
True. No. And this is not a smack at cosplay as well, because there are
Oh,
cosplays
no.
that are made on a shoestring and are like actually incredible. People are always surprised me at how talented people are. They just whip these things out with no preconceptions about how to do anything. But
Yeah.
that's
Really
it's
impressive.
very impressive.
All right. Well, did you guys see the message about cutting it short?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I responded.
We also both replied to them the message, but
So,
yes.
if we can tomorrow or the next day, we're going to pick up with if there's another big piece of news that comes out, like if Nintendo just suddenly announces a new Zelda game tomorrow, I'll be sure to add that to the list. But we will continue with the list discussion and answering everyone's Zelda questions tomorrow.
Great.
So this
Yes,
gives everybody
so-
a chance, if you're watching, to leave a comment on the actual video when it's posted, or go to our Discord to leave your question so we can make sure to get all of the best questions that we can.
Yes, because we don't have any questions this week.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time it ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like
Even the week you weren't here.
I've been promoting them for the voice actors, and I didn't promote anything for this week, so nobody had a chance. There was one person when I posted like 10 minutes ago, or 10 minutes before we began, that we were going to do it. But yeah. So Ilya, where can people find you?
People can find me on YouTube. Just look up Ilya Rose. I have a YouTube channel. I have a few videos. I talk about geeky things, mostly Zelda, but sometimes other things. I have a Twitter at Rose_Ilya. I have an Instagram at IlyaRose_Geek Apprentice. Yes, I'm a geek and I do voiceover work for Game Over Jesse, and it's awesome. So you hear my shrilly high voice sometimes.
Daniel.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at CaptBurgerson, where I post things. If you follow me on Twitter, you can see more of me
Those
retweeting
things.
Jesse, and you can follow me on Instagram, where I post pictures of the things that are on my shelf already behind me. And I also have a website that is burgersonmedia.com, where I go and post all my little projects that I work on, including videos that I edit for other people and original music that you can use in your own videos if you want. Just hit me up and I will send you the files for that. And I also forget to mention frequently that I have a YouTube channel called NSAG Film, which I haven't posted on in months, but there are some actually really good videos that I've worked on there. So yes, go and watch some of those, and I will love you. And Jesse, where can people find you? None of these people watching have ever heard of you.
Oh,
You're a rising star.
I am Jesse. You can find me at Game Over Jesse, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, the Facebook fan page.
Jesse, that's too many usernames for us to remember.
Everything is just Game Over Jesse, except PlayStation. PSN is the only thing that's not Game Over Jesse. Someone else had Game Over Jesse. I think they were a fan of mine.
They're a poser.
And their name may have also
Identity
just
theft.
been Jesse. But I added him as a friend. Because I was like, he can't take my name and not be friends with me.
It's funny because
Not
that's
allowed.
where the capped part of Capped Burgerson came from. My username was just Burgerson before, and when I was making my Xbox Live account back in the day, in like literally a decade ago, Burgerson was taken, and I was choked. And then my friend was like, everyone calls you Captain, so just Captain Burgerson. So then I just shortened to Capped. But it's funny how that one really stuck. But funny how these things come about. So what is your PlayStation one then, Jesse? You don't have to tell me. It's okay. I don't even have a PlayStation.
No, it has a 0 instead of an O. So it still looks like Game Over
Game
Jesse.
0 for Jesse.
Yeah. Game 0 for Jesse. Alright, well thank you.
And that's your
Daniel.
name on every social media, right?
Yeah, Game 0 for Jesse.
Absolutely.
But thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Ilya. And
Thank you, Jesse.
everyone who's tuned in to watch. Again, we will continue this tomorrow, maybe around the same time, maybe a bit earlier, depending on when everyone gets off work. So, bye, everybody.
Goodbye!
Alright, say something to him so he knows we're still here.
Gibbs, thank you for the super chat. I will put it towards my purchase of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Thank you so much, Gibbs. You put it when we stopped streaming, but we love you, Gibbs. Thank you.